Welcome to part 4 of this series that I've been sharing all week, all about moving the needle in your business and brand. And I'm really excited today to do a follow-on of yesterday's, all about kind of ideal clients. We were talking about this and really thinking about the offerings that you could provide, the support that you could provide, or equally the support that you could get, that would be really game changing in terms of your business, in terms of your development, or having that sense of like, yeah, I feel like I'm doing all the things that I'm supposed to be doing, or I'm feeling like me. Those moments where you just feel in your element, where you feel really good. Obviously, we all have life stuff and wobbles and all kinds of things, but hopefully you will find this useful. So today I'm talking about offerings and what you're putting out there in terms of your business. And I wanted to start, the first word I've written down is mindset, but mindset is just one of those umbrella terms, isn't it? Do you know what? It's really important, before we get to the money, before we get to all the other stuff, that you feel really good about what you're putting out into the world. And for so long, and I've certainly seen this in the coaching industry, there has been this pressure, this sense, this framework that you should do things in a certain way, or if you want to meet this target, then you should offer this, or you shouldn't offer this, or you should do things in a certain way. But I really invite you today to go back to a place of looking at your offerings, looking at your pricing menu, looking at how people actually pay you. And first and foremost, check in and see how those feel. And if there are any where you're like, yeah, I don't really like doing those, or yeah, well, this has been on my site for a while, but nobody's actually paid for that, I want you to check in with how that feels. The second thing I would love you to do, morning, is to check in with how it feels when you say something out loud. Because I've been on so many discovery calls over the years where sometimes I've said, so what's the price? And somebody's been like, the price is wrong. And I'm like, what? Say what? What's the price? What's going on? And saying something out loud, especially in terms of money, is a skill that we really have to learn, because I wasn't taught it. That is for sure. I wasn't taught to, charge your worth and say what you want to say. I still have to work it like a muscle, that I have to be able to say things out loud. So the first thing is to look at your pricing menu, see what's on there, see what's lurking on your website. This is always a biggie, where you're like, oh, didn't realize that was still there from 2017. See what you've got for sale. I know it's really obvious, where you're like, well, I'm the business owner, of course I'm going to know what's on there. But we get busy, we've had COVID, etc. So go back to what you're offering. Secondly, read them out loud. You can do this when you're alone in the house. You don't have to do it in front of people, unless you are in a couple where you're like, let's share, let's talk, let's read our poetry out loud. I'm home alone today, and I'm actually going to be doing this exercise myself. And there's going to be some things that I want to do and make sure that it feels good for me. Because if you're trying to sell it or deliver it or put it out there into the world, if it doesn't feel good to you, it's not going to necessarily land with somebody else. It's that moment. I have it with tights sometimes, even though it's not quite tight weather. When you get those bad tights and you spend the whole day fiddling with them, pulling them down, they're just really uncomfortable, and you can just feel it, and it takes over all your thoughts. I know that's a very incidental example, but that is how you're offering, that's how you're going to be putting yourself out there in terms of in the world, is that if you're not feeling very good about it, that's going to be the energy that leads. The second thing I want to talk about is, what result are you offering? And how are you delivering that? So I've spoken a lot over the years. I've been a coach for nearly 10 years. I've been an actor for 25 years and the rest. But I've always invested in my own self-development, business development, before we were all going, oh my God, I just feel really great because I've invested in myself. No, when I'm talking about investing, I'm not saying like I'm just going to throw 50 grand at a coach and hope for the best. I'm talking about all those tweaks along the way of new pictures or support with a system or a new piece of technology. That's what I'm sort of talking about in terms of investment. But also I've worked with people one-to-one, I've been part of group programs, digital products, etc. I've done the whole shebang, my friends. But I have to, and I've got a podcast episode about this, but I have to be really clear about what result I'm really hoping for in terms of that investment. So usually it starts with me writing that wish list, I guess, of this is what I'm looking for. It's almost like if you were going on a date, you might write down, you might not even write it down, but you might think like, I really want this person to be X, Y, and Z, or I really value this. I really hope that this person does that as well. So I do that when I'm making decisions in terms of where I go next and how I grow, because there definitely have been times where I've had discovery calls with people or I've bought something and I haven't necessarily done my due diligence, and I had to, I guess, learn the hard way. So when you're thinking, so to reverse this process, when you're thinking about the stuff that you are putting out there, the offerings, the gifts, the things to buy, I want you to really think about who's going to enjoy it and what's going to be on that wish list. So if somebody's saying, I need these 3 things, and you go, well, I provide these 3 things, then it's going to be a beautiful match. Then you're going to be able to come together. So then when the selling comes in, or the conversation, the discovery call, however you do it, it's going to be easy because 2 people are coming together and nodding along and going, oh yeah, this is absolutely fine. Also, I want you to think, as one final point today, about where that person is in terms of just before they make the payment and how they feel when they make the payment. So last year I did a 12-month, and yeah, it was intense, a 12-month coaching agreement, I guess, where I paid a significant amount of money. It certainly felt it for me. I know it's different for everybody else. A significant amount of money where I'm like, whoop, oh gosh, that feels a lot. That feels a lot every single month for 12 months. And in that situation, I knew I needed that support. But equally, because I paid that, I did the things. And I was asking this question the other day we had a masterminding type session. And I was saying, how many of us have bought things that we've never worn or we didn't eat in time? And I absolutely hate doing this, but you don't eat it in time. You're like, oh, I'm going to have to throw it away now, or I'm going to put it in the back of the freezer and hope for the best. Or you've bought an online course, or you've downloaded something, or you've got a free series in your inbox, but you've never opened it. And what we're looking at here is about the value exchange. So even though that big 12-month thing that I was part of, and, you know, I have lots of different thoughts around that I'm not going to go into today, I had to make sure in my head that I was reconciling that I was actually going to do the work to make sure that when that money left my bank account on the 28th of each month, I felt okay about it, that I felt good about it, and there was that exchange in that way. And the part that I would love you to think about, so once you've looked at what you're offering, and secondly saying them out loud, is to really think about, are these things that I have for sale going to match my money goal? Are these prices going to attract my ideal client who is all in, or who is going to get the result? And I've really noticed this in terms of my offerings. And I have done loads of podcast episodes around this, but I tell you what, and if you'd said this to me, I would have never have believed you. But try it yourself. The most expensive things that you have to offer are probably going to be the easiest to sell. Because that person who is looking for that particular thing has usually got to a point where They either go, I'm all in, I've got to really shake this up, I've got to do something here, or they are at a stage where they've tried all the other things and they know they need to up it up a bit. So I'm looking, I'm not going to turn my camera around because it's a right tip, but we've got this massive sofa here, and we bought it in 2016, and it's got like 4 bits on it. It's a big corner grey sofa, and you can probably get comfortably, let's say comfortably, because I like to stretch out, probably 4 to 6 people on it. So it's quite a big beastie thing. This came at a point when I had a baby that was about 4 months old, and I was sitting on that sofa day, night, all hours, for hours. And we had this really terrible purple sofa, and I don't want to knock a gift horse in the mouth or anything like this, but it was donated. Like, my dad I don't know why he had a purple sofa, but anyway, my dad had this purple sofa, and he was like, do you want it? And at the time of moving in here, we didn't have that in our budget to kind of throw in a sofa as well, because this felt like an upgrade for where we were. But there suddenly became that moment where that need of, like, if I'm going to be sitting in a chair on a sofa for 18 hours of the day with a baby doing all of this stuff, we need to do something that's going to be the best possible solution in that situation. So of course you could go, well, we don't really like this sofa, why don't we get a couple of deck chairs? Like, we'll just do that. Or, oh, well, we could maybe get we could get a chair and that would be fine. But I always go back to this best possible scenario, and it's a theory, I guess, that I have in life, that I really, whether I'm booking a holiday or whether I'm thinking about, I don't know, what I want to wear to a wedding. I did this in the summer when my brother got married. I knew that I would have 2 small children with me. So I kind of did my wish list. Like, I think I want to wear a bright colour because I felt really tired in the summer. So that might lift my face up a little bit. I really need to be able to move in it. I really need to be able to lift a child up and not feel like I can't sit down or crouch down or any of that kind of stuff. So going back to your offerings, your clients, who you're trying to bring in, really think about what that wish list is for somebody before they make that commitment. Because I know there is this temptation, and again, this is another moment that we've been conditioned to have, where we go, I don't know, what would people pay? I'm not sure. And we dampen down our value and what we're worthy of, I guess, or what we feel we are worthy of. I want you to really think about what it would take, or what would feel fair or a good value exchange for somebody to have some skin in the game, which again, I think is really important as well, to actually put their money where their mouth is. And of course, that is a very much a sliding scale, but also get to the point where you feel really good, where you are feeling like you can serve, you can deliver, you can do what you want to do without you feeling, oh God, I've got to speak to that client today, or like, that client's taking so much from me, or she's exhausting, or he's a nightmare, or anything like that. But there's that really lovely feeling between you. So if you haven't caught up on the other 3 parts, you can go back over. They're on my IGTV. Also, they're all on my YouTube channel, so you can check that out. You can also, if you want to come to my CEO day, which is next Thursday, jam and plan morning, where I'm going to be in session 2 talking a lot more in detail about money goals and where you're going and what that actually looks like. One thing as an aside, 10 years ago when I was doing my coaching qualification, I would have never have done this strategy stuff. Well, I would, but I wouldn't have gone into the detail, because some of my values were all about creativity and spontaneity. And what I actually had to realize was, if I want to get here and I'm here, I'm going to have to figure out what that gap looks like. And if I don't, I'm going to go round and round in circles. So the event next Thursday is very... It's not prescriptive, I would say. So it's not one of those like, just do these 3 things and overnight you will do X, Y, and Z. But it's about holding that space for you to really think, who am I? What am I doing? What's working? What's not? And to be in that space of possibility. I think especially when we're busy, so many of us, of you, are tired and we've been all the things to all the people. This is really about almost that moment in yoga where you lie down on your back and you check in with your body. And you take some deep breaths and you're like, oh, that shoulder feels a bit sore. Oh, yeah, I felt a bit of tension there. Or like, oh, I'm a bit more flexible than I thought I was. This is what this day is about. So I'm going to leave all the details in the description. I will be back tomorrow for the final part of this series. Thank you so much for joining. If you found this useful, please share with I was going to say with your family. You don't have to share with your family. With your Instagram family. That would be very lovely. Thank you. And I'll catch you again tomorrow. Again, I'm not sure when it will be. It'll probably be early morning because I have childcare there, and you know that juggle is juggling. So yeah, I'll speak to you soon. Have a lovely day. Bye.